Hi, welcome to Inspiring Visions. This is part one of a series exploring the practice of mindfulness and visionary methods, but being built on a biblical foundation and incorporating research as well. Many faith-based believers are concerned about the practice of meditation and visionary work because of its roots in Eastern religion. So we're going to navigate through all of that information in this series from a biblical perspective. Healthcare practitioners are not only using mindfulness techniques now, they are also recommending them to their patients. And the reason why is because they're seeing results in some areas with a decrease in stress reduction and overall and well-being and improved patient quality of care outcomes. And the NIH has also in 2022 put out an article on the positive effects of mindfulness. Some of these positive effects will be discussed later in this series, but what's concerning is that the NIH failed to write a warning of possible adverse effects that are also seen with mindfulness. So it seems like most of those positive effects are out in the media now and being discussed without any warning. And there is ample evidence to show the necessity for concern with the practice of mindfulness and visionary work, and it's being leading to increased psychosis. So for instance, this study looked at 434 participants with over 30% of them experiencing a meditation-related adverse effect. So these adverse effects included either anxiety, traumatic re-experiencing, and emotional sensitivity. And this study looked at 96 people with over 80% of those participants experiencing adverse effects from their meditation. So you might be thinking, how does one navigate the literature in order to prevent these effects and psychotic events from occurring? And if you are a believer, you might be thinking, is this something I should even get involved in? Well, at Dunamis Health Strategies, our goal is to combine evidence-based research through a biblical lens. Therefore, the practical application of mindfulness and looking at those positive effects will be discussed later in this series. But if it is going to be based on a biblical foundation, we must build on that first. So before we navigate that literature. So the purpose of all of this is so that you can prosper and be in good health. And there are two parts to the mindfulness extravaganza that's happening right now. One is meditation and the other is visions. And so the beginning portion of this series will look at visions, again, from that biblical foundation. And the Bible does give us insight on the importance of visions when it talks about in Proverbs, without a vision, the people will perish. So if a vision is associated with perishing, what is the purpose of this vision, and how can we avoid the absence of it and lead to death? And the Bible's clear as to the purpose of visions, and that's to know the Lord. The Lord states, "Hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream." In this verse, the Lord declares the purpose of the vision and the dream, and that it is to make himself known. So in the Hebrew, the word vision can also mean a mirror. This is similar to what Paul declares to the Corinthians, but we all with open face, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord, are changed into the same image from glory to glory, even as by the Spirit of the Lord. So here we find that the purpose of seeing a vision or beholding the glass of the Lord is to be changed into the same image. So combining this information, Proverbs declares, without a vision, the people perish. Secondly, Numbers declares that the purpose of the vision is to see the Lord. And finally, Paul declares that when we see the Lord, we will be changed into that same image. And therefore, without a vision of Jesus, the people perish. And ultimately, it's because they do not see, know, or reflect him. It is God's desire that none should perish, but have everlasting life. And this is why he gave his only begotten Son. With the foundation laid as to the purpose of a vision, it is also important to understand the types of visions. Visions are given audibly. They can be relayed to others. Visions can also be portrayed as scenes in a dream or a trance. And life applications of a vision can be enacted, such as the sanctuary and Isaac on the altar. Each one of these types will be discussed within this series with biblical examples as well as supporting scientific research. This current video, we're just going to go into detail on two of those types associated with visions given audibly and how visions can be relayed to others. Visions can be given audibly from the Lord, as seen in the account with Samuel. Just a boy, Samuel hears a voice. Since he did not have a vision visually, he thinks it's Eli calling him. Confused, Eli tells the young boy to go back to bed. This happens 3 times. Eli finally realizes that it is the Lord speaking to Samuel. Samuel goes back to bed, and following Eli's instructions, when Samuel hears the voice again, he informs the Lord that he is listening. Clearly, Samuel only heard an audible voice, as there would not have been any confusion thinking Eli had called him if he had seen the Lord instead of only heard the Lord. So just because Samuel did not visually see a vision, the relaying of the events to Samuel audibly is still called a vision according to 1 Samuel 3:15, where the Bible informs that the child was apprehensive to inform Eli the vision the Lord had spoke to him. The second way a vision can be given is when the individual who received the word of the Lord relays that vision to another, either audibly or in written form. The concept of verbally sharing a vision is illustrated in the story of Samuel. Again, as discussed, the child hears a word or a vision from the Lord and fears to relay that vision to Eli the next day. However, Eli is persistent with the young boy and casts a curse upon him if Samuel does not tell everything he heard from the Lord. This means that Samuel is guiding Eli in the vision that was being relayed to him. The same audible guiding of a vision is seen with the prophet Nathan and King David. Nathan hears a word from the Lord that is to be relayed to King David. Nathan is faithful and guides David in the same vision that was told him in regard to the building of the sanctuary. The second-hand nature in which a vision can be relayed to another person is by the written text, which is why believers have the Bible today. Specifically, the Lord tells Habakkuk to relay the vision he sees by writing it upon tables. In Chronicles, the believer is told that the events surrounding Hezekiah can also be read in the book of the Kings and in the book of Isaiah. But instead of calling Isaiah's writings a book, they're called a vision. Therefore, a vision can be relayed in written form to another individual as well as verbally. So in summary, the Bible lays out the path for the believer to walk in. And one of those paths is through visions. Without a vision, the people perish. The primary purpose of a vision is to know the Lord, to see him and reflect him. And there are 4 ways in which a vision is given. 2 of them were discussed in this video by audible visions from the Lord or receiving them secondhand through a vision being given verbally by someone else or in written form. So, what do you think? Do people receive visions today? The answer is yes. People may not realize how many visions they are cast before them each day. If you've engaged in painting, singing, listening to music, reading a book, watching television, or listening to or telling a story, you have either given or received a vision. The question is, have those visions had Christ at the heart of them? As it relates to your health, the next video will go over the science and the Bible in regard to visions and how they relate to your health, and how you can begin connecting with the Lord to create a vision for your own health from a biblical perspective using pillars of scientific research built upon that foundation of the Bible. See you in the next video.